All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for coming to class. It's Active Yoga Basics. My name is Kristen. I believe that you are all familiar with this class, or at least have been in some of my classes before. So thanks again for coming and joining today. I am in our solarium, which you can tell by the amount of sunshine and bird chatter. So you hear my cockatiel and you might hear my African gray. They typically quiet down after I talk for about 5 or 10 minutes. So in case it's your first time hearing them, just know that they will settle down, even though they're chatty. I think they think I'm talking to them. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. This class is available to you whether you're standing or you're seated, though I may not teach to your particular bodily situation. You should be able to take what I'm doing and transpose it into your body the best way that you can. All right. So if you have questions about that, put it in the chat. I'll check in with you after class or send me an email or reach out on Instagram. And all of that information is there in the chat box that you see. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Take breaks, have water. Skip shapes that you don't think are for you today. It's totally possible. Not every shape is for me every day, right? I have a lot of back problems. So there's sometimes where I just skip certain things or I modify or I do them differently than maybe I was taught how to do them. And that's just to be a little bit more aware of myself and how I can be gentler with myself, right? Okay, so we're going to start by building mountain pose. It's the base of all of our other yoga shapes. We can carry the principles of this alignment into all of our other shapes that we'll be doing even throughout this class today. So with your feet hip width distance, if you're not sure what that means, that's 2 fists next to each other, long ways, not width ways, long ways. We want to be a little bit closer. Bend down, place them in between the 2 big toes. If you're in a seat, the same thing's happening. If you can't reach your toes, then just close one of your eyes and aim the best you can. Okay. From here, lift up all your toes, spread them out as wide as you can, and then place them back down. From here, we're going to weight the feet up a little bit. Find out how those muscles are doing. So shift your weight to your toes and lift up your heels. Bring your heels down and lift up your toes. If this challenges your balance, please hold on to something. Then bring your weight to your toes and lift your heels again. A little core engagement can help. Heels down, lifting up the toes. So forwards and backwards. Go at your own pace. Try not to use momentum to keep you from losing your balance, right? But think about how you're actually using these muscles to support you. If you are in a chair and you're seated, you can just work on lifting and lowering the heels, right? And maybe you bring your feet on top of a block to give you even more space. All right, so we're going to add some movement side to side. Roll to the outer edge of one foot. For me, this is a nice stretch up the side of my leg. If this is painful to you, don't do it. That goes for everything. And then shift the weight over to the other side. And then bring your weight towards your big toe mound of your right foot. And then your left foot. And see if you can find a little flow of movement that works for you. So forward, backwards, left to right. Could omit some of those things. You could amplify or change up some of those things, right? And that's the theme throughout this entire class, kind of like a choose your adventure book. Choose your adventure yoga class. All right, so come back to your center. Lift up your toes again, spread them out a little bit wider and place them down. Maybe you can feel each toe. Try not to crunch the toes. Feel a little lift in the arches. If none of this is resonating with you, don't worry about it. Put a little bend in your knees. It's going to feel awkward. So let's think about softening from the lower back. I always bring my hand to the front of the body, hand to the back of the body, and just tilt the tailbone down a little bit. Engage the pelvic floor in and up. Belly button to your spine. Lift your ribs up away from your hips. And take a moment to roll the shoulders up and back. You still have the awkward bend in your knees. All right, so let them settle. Flipping the palms forward, but not in a way where you're super exaggerated, right? We want to be pretty natural here. Now, from that awkward bend in your knees, think of engaging the thighs, lifting them above the kneecaps to help you straighten your legs. From the side, if we are super flexible, I'm going to move one foot forward just so you can see the difference. You're going to notice that if you're real flexible and you straighten the leg, you're actually hyperextending. There's no muscle to stop you from doing that there. So if that's you, then that little micro bend is a better option for you. So you're not applying pressure backwards. Okay, so we got all that core engagement. We're grounding from the feet. The palms are facing forward as natural as you can. Take a look at your chin, but it's a little bit forward. Mine usually is. So you might take your finger and press it back. And then from here, ground down from the feet. Engage the thighs up, pelvic floor up, lifting up your chest. Take a deep breath in. And a slow breath out. Close your eyes, try to feel this posture, taking away one of your senses, standing a little bit taller on your inhale. And breathing a little slower on your exhale. Not everything we do in class is optional. If it's a part of your practice, bring your palms together at the center of your chest. This could be called Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment to create an intention for your practice. Creating an intention is something that can really help you if you're feeling like you don't really want to take yoga today, but you're just here for it. We all have those days. So wherever you are, take a full breath in and a slow breath out. And opening up your eyes, interlace your fingers, place them underneath your chin. Hold this connection the whole time. Then look up towards your ceiling and create a loud ha sound. At the same time, elbows move towards each other like this. With your inhale, level your chin, lift up your elbows, simultaneous. Exhale, head back. Elbows touching when breathless. Try to move slow. Inhale, chin levels, lifting up your elbows. Exhale, head back, loud ha sound, squeeze out the old air, squeeze your elbows in. Inhale, level your chin, lift your elbows up. Exhale. 2 more, inhale. This time, try to take in an extra sip, lift the elbows a little higher. Exhale, head back. On this last one, slow it down. Inhale. Draw in and up from your core. Lift your elbows a little higher. Exhale, head back. Release your arms by your sides back to your mountain pose. With your inhale, reach your arms up overhead best you can. Could be fine if the elbows are bent. With your exhale, forward fold, bend with the knees. Make your way down, take your time. From here, ragdoll, grab for opposite elbows. Let your head be heavy. And with that nice little bend in your knees to keep you soft in the hamstrings, soft in your lower back, and it may be mandatory on your body that you have a larger bend in your knees. This is all okay. Just take a moment to find a little movement side to side. Backwards and forwards. Try to keep your vision behind you. And if this feels good, you could stay here. If you'd like to add a shoulder opener, place your hands towards your lower back, interlace your fingers, reach the knuckles up, overhead as it's available to you with your range of motion. Let the shoulders fall forward in this one. Engage the core. Spin your thighs inwards and maybe lift the hips a little higher. Maybe not. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release your hands down to your shins. With your inhale, lift up halfway. Think of this half lift as a way to lengthen your spine, to stretch your spine out. Deep breath in. Exhale and forward fold. Slowly roll up to standing. Use hands up your legs to give yourself a little more security if it's needed. Once your blood has settled from standing back up, use your inhale to reach the arms up and overhead. Interlace your fingers, release your index fingers, cross your thumbs. If this shape is not happening for you, there are so many other options. You could have your hands by your hips, hands at heart center. You could have one arm up at a time. Maybe the arm needs to be bent, and that's the issue, right? So figure out what works best for you here. Find a little movement side to side. Keep your core engaged, protect your spine. And then find a little stretchy movement forwards and backwards. And when I say backwards, I don't mean into a great big back bend, just enough to lift up the chest and stretch the front of your torso. You can engage your glutes anytime this is a little bit irritating to your lower back. We don't want that. And maybe you take some circles around your waist. And come back to your center. So bring your toes in towards each other unless this creates discomfort. Engage from the core, lengthen up, breathing in. And with your exhale, stretch up and over to your right. Grounding down from the feet. Engage the thighs and glutes. Hips stay square, shoulders stay square. A lot of times you might notice a hip twist backwards, a shoulder twist. So try to untwist. It could take some time. So lifting up from the core, breathe in. Exhale to reach. Inhale back to your center. Find a little space reaching upwards. Exhale and stretch to your left. So hopefully for you, this feels like a stretch between the ribs and the hips. The tighter you are, the more you're going to feel in this shape. It could even go down your leg if you're very tight. So we're grounding from the feet, shoulders and hips pretty square. Where are your shoulders? You might need to bring them down and lift your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale to deepen. Inhale back up. And with your exhale, back to your mountain pose. Okay, so we'll set up for a supported back bend. If we have lower back sensitivity, if our back just hurts sometimes, this is still just a nice option. This is going to make you stay out of sinking into your lower back, right? So that has a lot to do with inner thigh strength, pelvic floor strength, core strength. So you might just choose to take a block. There's many different size blocks, right? So if you have little hips, there's smaller blocks for you than even the standard block. Having it in between the legs is like a resistance band. So it gives you something to hold on to and to focus, which is going to make you engage those outer glutes, those upper glutes, and the inner thigh muscles, okay? Just a lot of engagement that we don't normally experience in a traditional yoga class. So placing the hands at your lower back, fingertips down, elbows in, engage from the core. That might mean tilting the tailbone a little bit. From an inhale, lift up your chest. From your exhale, press the hips forward, shift the weight back into your heels at the same time. So it's almost like a little teetering there in the beginning to find what works best. Pressing into the lower back, pulling in and up from the core, lifting up from your chest, elbows in. Inhale back up. Exhale, arms by your sides. All right, so hopefully if you tried that with the block, you found that helpful. You can always place the block down in between the feet as well. With your inhale, arms reach up again. With your exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. This time, take your hands on top of your blocks. Hopefully you have two blocks so that you're pretty balanced on either side. We'll bend the knees, pausing here, sealing up the core. Then lift the right foot, point the toes straight back, and step the right foot back into a lunge. The left foot can shift a little forward. I always have to pick my left foot up for like 15 years. So lower the right knee down, untuck your toes, or keep them tucked under, but mindfully, right? Mindfully pick which one that works best for you. I recommend flipping your blocks up, shoulders down, lifting up your chest. Check in with your left knee and make sure that the knee is behind the ankle. There are other forms of yoga where you're more strict with lining the knee up with the ankle or even taking it beyond the ankle. This is a more therapeutic approach. We want to protect the joints in this class, so please keep your knee behind your ankle. Deep breath in. Exhale to your half splits. Once you have a sort of half split shape, knee could be more bent. Try to find length in the spine and then walk your blocks back towards you to help you sit up tall, to help you create space. You can think of blocks as arm extensions. Engage your core. Inhale back to your lunge. Now feel the right hip shift forward and down. Still lift up from the core. Exhale to your half splits once again. So in this half splits, we'll move through some nerve glides, pointing and flexing your left foot. I just moved the right block back here so you can see more of what I'm doing with the legs. You can do this with a bend in your knee, right? Check in with your right hip. It may have gone back a little bit. So just work to try to keep the hips square. Okay, so come back to flexing your foot, engaging your core. Inhale, back to your lunge. Exhale, half splits. From here, we'll just take a moment to flex the foot. Internal rotation of your thigh, so it spins inwards. Lift up from the chest, bend at your elbows and hinge a little forward from your torso, not from your chin. Inhale, back to your lunge. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up off the mat, and just hover that back knee down a little bit. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Hold it up if you can. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bend your knees again. Hold it right there. Seal up the core, then lift up your left foot. Point those toes straight back. Kick it back into a lunge. And lower your left knee down. So same thing, different side. What's different? I don't know. What's going on in your body that's going to make it feel different, right? So you may have to adjust accordingly. If this hurts your knee that's down, put a blanket underneath it or a small pillow. Same thing for the right foot. We have heel sensitivity. Sometimes just adding a little extra layer can change the shape for you. So right knee is lined up with the right heel or behind it, lifting up from your chest, breathe in. Exhale to your half split, flexing your right foot. Shoulders back, walk the blocks back with you. Inhale, back to your lunge. Now feel the left hip press forward and shift a little down. Exhale, back to your half splits. For this half splits, we'll move through some nerve glides. I'll slide the right block back a little further than you should, just to show you pointing and flexing. If you feel pretty good about this, you've been doing this for a while, then think about isolating the thigh muscle. Flex your foot, engage your core. Inhale, back to your lunge. Exhale to your half splits. So keep using the core. Lift up from your chest, elbows in. Maybe they bend backwards and you offer a little bit of a reach forward. Inhale, back to your lunge. Tuck those back toes, lift your knee up off the mat. Squeeze the left thigh like you're trying to hold up something. Look forward a little bit. Hover your left knee down. Inhale, lift your left leg, flex your foot. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. With your exhale, fold. So here you have lots of options for hands to feet. It could be peace fingers around your big toes. It could be hands behind the back of your legs, grabbing opposite elbows. It could be hands behind the back of your legs with your elbows in and your fingers down towards your calves. You can step on your hands, gorilla pose. You can take your hands to the sides of your feet, right? So there's lots of options. Do what you like best. Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale and pull your upper body down. Shoulders slide away from your ears. Let your head be heavy. Shift your weight to your toes. Now spinning your thighs inwards to help you lift up your hips is a nice way to deepen this shape. Grounding from the feet, lifting from the hips. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale and fold. Slowly roll up. All right, so like I said, skip anything, take more time if you need to. Do things twice on one side if you have an imbalance, right? All right, we're gonna work through our step out sequence. When we are stepping out, just a reminder that we wanna try to engage the muscle that we're stepping out with. So for example, when we go to step out to the left here in a second, it's not just gonna be like a kick your leg out to the left and hope you catch the rest of your body, but almost like you're kicking out and then placing the left foot down. It's going to turn on that adduction, abduction of this whole hip function on the left side. Same if we were doing it on the other side. All right. So I'm going to be on the right side of my mat, stepping out to the left. That's how I'll be teaching it. If you're going the other way, just keep track of your left and right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, kick your left foot out, place it down, V shape with the legs. Arms out to a T shape. Now here you can take a moment just for little small circles, tiny little controlled movements, right? If this is not available to you, hands to your hips, move the shoulders. Sometimes just having the arms in a goldfish shape and moving them that way works. And if you're moving in one direction, try the other direction. Engaging from the core. Engage the thighs and press from the feet, but not from the toes. All right, so shoulders back, lift up your chest, breathing in. Engage the core, and with your exhale, fold forward. Hands down to something, could be a block. Blocks are very helpful. From here, a little movement side to side, just opening up the hips. What do you feel here? If this is already tight, this is where you stay. When you gain more range of motion, you move into it. And then if it's available to you, just lower down into straightening the left leg, bending the right knee. Don't force this shape. There's a lot going on here. And then make your way back to your center, turning those toes in slightly. Make sure you have a block out in front of you and send it far enough in front of you so that when you lean forward and you place the right hand in the center of the block, the wrist, elbow, shoulder are all lined up, okay? Little bend in the elbow is perfectly fine. Left hand can be at your lower back to start. Deep breath in. With your exhale, begin to twist. So rolling the left shoulder back, right shoulder under. Maybe this creates a straight line, maybe not. Don't worry about it too much. Just worry about leading with the twist with the left shoulder, not so much your hips. If you're trying to twist in your hips and it's just unavoidable, that left hand at the lower back can really help to remind you to isolate. You can send the left arm up if you like. You can look up. If you look up, just make sure your chin and your shoulder aren't touching. Deep breath in. Exhale and twist. Lift from the chest, breathe in. Exhale, back to your forward fold. Hang heavy, weights in the heels. We'll switch to the other side. So left hand down, right hand could start at the lower back. Weight towards the toes. Deep breath in. Exhale to twist. Open up from the right shoulder. It might not be that you're allowed to move that much in your body yet, but leading with the right shoulder will help open up the torso over time. Pulling the right shoulder back, shoulders away from the ears. Maybe the right arm extends, maybe not. Weight towards the toes now, turning the thighs inwards. Deep breath in. Exhale and twist. And release the right hand down to meet the left. Hang heavy, weights back with your heels. And take your hands to the calves or the ankles, sides of the feet, or your big toes. Always with the options, right? Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale and pull your upper body down. Shoulders away from the ears. Press the chest towards the legs. Shift your weight towards your toes to lift your hips. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release hands to the floor or your block, lifting up halfway. Now seal up that core as strong as you can. And if you need more support, it's hands to your hips to bring you up. Otherwise, arms out to a T shape. Inhale up, arms up overhead. Bend your right knee. Strong from the left side. Step the right foot over to the left. Back to your mountain pose. If you kept going, hopefully you recovered. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Okay, inhale, arms up. With your exhale, kick that right leg out to the right. Arms back out to your T shape. Pivot your right foot once to the right. Left toes inwards, just a little bit. Then bend and straighten your right leg. When I bend and straighten my right leg, I know that I'm getting ready for warrior two in this shape. So I inch my right foot a little bit forward to help widen my stance. That just works for me. All right, so if you need to do it differently, it's no problem. Tailbone down, lower belly in and up. Open from the hips so you feel the left hip draw back, the right knee tracks open. Take a look at your right foot and make sure that that knee is tracking over towards the pinky toe. And if it's not, just put your hand on the inside of your right thigh. Push it back a little bit. Arms can extend. Hands could be at the hips or heart center. Deep breath in. Exhale into your warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Lifting from the chest, pull the shoulder blades in. Lower down from the hips. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Reach forward, flip your right palm. Inhale to reverse, right arm up, palm faces down. Left hand just touches the left leg or hangs out at the lower back. We do not want to use this left arm as a kickstand, especially not applying pressure onto the knee area. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale back to your warrior. Stay for your exhale. Straighten your right leg, pivot your right toes in, pivot your left toes out. Take a moment to move around. If the heart rate gets too high, you start to get a little sweaty. Hands back to heart center might help that. Okay, so working into the shape could feel different for you on this side. Shoulder blades in, lifting your chest. Engage the thighs, lower the hips down, track your left knee open. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Engage up from the thighs, up from the core. Breathe in. Exhale to lower. Reach forward, flip your left palm. Inhale, reverse. Right arm overhead, palm faces down. If it's okay in your neck, you look up. If you look up, your neck says, no, thank you. Then just don't look that way. Deep breath in. Exhale, back to your warrior two. Straighten your left leg, pivot your toes, arms up overhead. Strong through the right leg, but bend the left leg. Left foot steps over to the right. Exhale, back to your mountain pose. Okay, so you're in the last couple classes of last season's Tuesday class. I mentioned we were going to start working on eagle and eagle variations. So the basis of eagle, which is Tadasana in Sanskrit, Garuda, which is like an eagle, like a mythological, very strong eagle. Okay, you can look it up on Google if you're interested. So we're going to start with the foundation of that shape, which is a chair pose. Okay, so if you're in a chair, your focus is going to be on lifting, lengthening up from the core, reaching the arms up as it's available to you. Anytime we bring the arms over the head, we are inviting cardio, blood flow, maybe dizziness. So if you feel any of those symptoms, just begin to move slower into these shapes and have the hands closer to the body, or don't have the arms extended out as far for as long. Okay, so I'm going to do this from the side. We're going to start with a very gentle chair pose. Let's use a block. Block why? Means we don't want to hurt our backs. We're going to isolate those muscles in the lower back, in the inner thighs, and in the glutes. In between the thighs. Feet are separated. You can start by having your arms out in front of you. Little bend in the knees to begin. Shoulders back, lifting up your chest. Take a deep breath in. With your exhale, begin to lower the hips down. All right, the feet are still grounded in this variation. We're squeezing that block, hopefully, pelvic floor is in. You begin to lean a little forward, right? Because you think this is kind of hard. So lift up your chest and squeeze your core. Pull the shoulders back. If you're in a chair in this shape, right, you got the lower part covered, so you got to focus on the arms. So you might have a block on your arms and reach them up out in front of you instead, for the same reason as the legs, just activating different muscle groups. Deep breath in. Exhale and lower down. Squeeze those legs and glutes. Inhale back up. All right, release the arms down. Okay, we're going to do one more variation of that. Next week, we're going to add on to it. Okay, so second variation, arms out in front of you. Lift up your heels. That's right. Up on those toes. Take a deep breath in. Stay here or use your exhale to sink down in the hips. Lifting from the chest. Shoulders back. Take a deep breath in. Use your exhale to lower you down. Inhale back up, lift the heels. Exhale and bring it down. All right, let it go. Love to hear how that went for you. Feel free to put it in the chat or send me a message. We'll take tree and then we're going to lower to the floor. If your tree might fall over today, get close to something. Press down from the left foot. Lift your right heel, take your knee out to the right, and slide your heel up your calf. Bypass the knee if it's available to lift the heel higher. No pressure on the knee ever. One or both hands to heart center. Right knee tracks open. Squeeze the left thigh. Lift your chest. And maybe the arms go up. Maybe you look up. Maybe you do something else. One point of focus wherever you are. Slow breaths in and out. Hands back to heart center. Breathe in. Exhale and release your right foot down. And to the other side, right foot grounds, left heel lifts, left knee out to the left. Slide the heel up. This might be where you stop. This is not a problem. This is a beautiful tree. When it's available, if it may never be, it's okay. Left knee tracks open. Foot presses into the thigh and vice versa. Tailbone down, lifting up so you can find those principles of mountain pose, right? Our first shape in tree. So if you're a toe cruncher, if you're holding on with those toes right now, I noticed I was doing it. Lift them up instead, spread them out wide. It might throw you off your balance, but it will help you in your alignment in this shape. If you've done something else with your arms, bring them back to heart center. Deep breath in. Exhale back to your mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Feel free to look up if you can. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. With your exhale, squat and curl. Just lower the hips down. If your knees say no, it's okay. Just lower to the floor. Looking forward. Have a block nearby. Reach the arms out. Bring the heels to the floor and see if you can lower down to your seat. Totally possible. You're going to keep rolling straight back. Don't worry about it if you do. Okay, back to the block in between the thighs. You know what it's doing now. We don't need to go over it again. Press down from the big toes. Reach from the fingers. Lift up your chest, breathing in. Exhale and lower back with control. Now, you know that you should be more protective of your body here when the hands are on the floor. Maybe even lower down from your side. Once you are down, seal up that core and pull the knees up into your chest. Move the block to the side. Take your hands around the front of the shins or behind the back of your thighs and rock a little bit left and right. What you want to look for here is bringing the shoulders down to the floor. It's really easy to have them lifted up, right? So bring them down. This might mean you need more space in the arms. Something like a scarf could be helpful. And then flex the feet. Take as tight of a grip as you can get with the shoulders down on the floor. Inhale, let your belly lift up towards your legs. With your exhale, pull your knees towards your chest. Press your hip bones down. Inhale, belly lifts up. Exhale, pull the knees in, shoulders, hips down. Last one, breathe in. Exhale and pull. Release, kick your heels up towards your ceiling, flex your feet. Make sure your heels and your hips are pretty lined up. We have a tendency to kind of have the legs leaning a little forward. So check in with yourself. You can use a block in between the thighs here if you need more support or more emphasis on those inner thigh muscles. So we flex the feet and kick up. Send the fingertips towards your toes. Lift your head and shoulders off the mat. Now feel the core seal up. Hold it here or pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, lift up and hold. Palms together, reach a little to the right, kick up from the heels. 4, 3, 2. On 1, lift and hold. Reach to the left side, hold or pulse. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift up and hold. Reach back to your center. See if you can lift 1 more inch. Breathe in. Exhale, lower down. Give yourself a hug. Bring the shoulders down to the floor. And move your head a little left and right. Then hang on to your right knee. Kick your left leg up and bring it down to the floor. I always have to make sure there's nothing in the way. But if you can, keep your head down. So flex both feet. We want both sides to be active this whole time. Take a big breath in. With your exhale, pull your right knee towards the right side of your chest. Shoulders down, tucking your chin. Deep breath in, belly lifts up. Exhale and pull the right knee in. One more time, use your breath, it helps you. Place your right foot on the floor. Slide your hips over to the right and then twist. Right leg moves across your body. Right arm can extend out. Now, if you extend out and your shoulders up off of the floor, I'm kind of showing you that right now if you're looking, then you need to wedge something underneath your shoulder so that it is supported and not just hanging out. It's pretty dangerous for the rotator cuff to be forced to work like that. So if you are hinged up, that's what I'll call it, hinged up. Put something underneath your shoulder to help catch you. And that's going to support this whole area. Right? Really good if you already know you have some rotator cuff issues anyways. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. If you love this shape, you know, we always do this shape on Friday mornings. Restorative with lots of stuff. So feel free to join that if you can. And please do. When you're ready, come back to your center, slide your hips back over because you want your shoulders and your hips to be lined up before we move to the other side. All right, both knees in, a little hug. Extend the right leg long, all the way down to the floor. Or something else. But get it down to the floor. If you needed to have it propped up on something, you could. Just make sure it's not hurting the backside of your knee. So we flex both feet, shoulders down. Inhale to let your belly lift up. Exhale, pull your left knee towards your chest. Active on both sides. Kick the right foot. Inhale. Exhale and pull. Last one on your own. Use your breath. Left foot down. Slide your hips over. Set up for your twist. So if you are one of the people that's very inflexible, which is extremely common, and this is more like your twist, then you just got to get things underneath you to stack you. So you need to get something going like a bolster and then put a pillow on top of it, even using blocks. And then if you have a choice whether you can, if you can support the knee to the ankle at the same time with the same amount of stuff, maybe a little bit more on one side if you were a little bit wonky, which I do see. I see like a knee higher or an ankle higher sometimes. You just adjust accordingly. Balance it out the best that you can. You don't want any pressure from the knee or pressure from the ankle. So if you're feeling that, that's an indication that you just need more. And then check in with that left shoulder we talked about on the other side. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. When you're ready, roll back to your center. Slide your hips back over. Draw the knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And if you like child's pose, you're halfway there. So just take your hands to your feet, kick your heels up, pull your knees down, shoulders down. Maybe you move around. Maybe it's stillness for you. Maybe it's both. Sometimes people go one leg, both, then the other leg. Sometimes people do both legs, but I don't recommend it unless you're very comfortable with your range of motion. And then we'll bring the feet in towards each other and down to the floor. With the feet close to each other, engage the core and lift your tailbone up. Think of like a little baby bridge, but then we're just going to bring the butt back down. That's just to make sure that the spine's lined back up. So now we'll go Supta Baddha Konasana or recline bound angle. Soles of the feet touch, knees open. I love blocks. I love pillows even more here. Whether it's a restorative class or not, and this is not a restorative class, but having this sort of stuff underneath you in these major joint areas can increase your flexibility. You're not thinking about injuring yourself, so you can relax. Lots of benefits to stuff in yoga. Stuff outside of yoga is questionable. Let the eyes close. And begin to let your jaw relax, the facial muscles relax, especially the space between your eyebrows. And begin to feel the back of your head get heavy, back of your throat, shoulders. You're welcome to stay here longer if you like. Without opening up the eyes, see if you can just bring your knees in towards each other. Walk the feet out to the edges of your mat. Let your knees fall in. Closing up your hips. And for Shavasana today, corpse pose, the traditional resting pose at the end of all or most yoga classes. I will offer a variation, which is legs up the wall. Me particularly, I'm not going to put my legs up the wall. It is just the title. I'm going to go legs up the ottoman plus bolster. So if you have a piece of furniture nearby, you can just flip your legs up on, or maybe you do have a wall space, try it. If you know you don't like it, don't worry about it. If you like it, but you don't have the space, but you have some props, put them at the end of your mat and see if you can just get a little elevation in your legs, right? So anytime we're elevating the feet, it is an inversion, right? So we're getting some psychological benefits, reversing blood flow, good for the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. So if you don't like that, you don't want that, that's okay. Just go traditional. Okay, sometimes a pillow underneath the back of your head can really help you relax. And it's just more comfortable. Arms down by your side, palms tilt up. If you have questions about the shape, there's so many varieties. Please feel free to put it there in the chat and I'll check at the end of class. So we'll be quiet here for a couple minutes and then we will officially end class at our seats. If you have to go now, I understand. Thank you so much for joining. Otherwise, I'll say some words in a couple of minutes to bring us up to our seat. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out. Now, depending on the shape you're in, you might like to reach the arms overhead. If your legs are up a wall, then just slowly walk them down the wall. When you're ready, turn to whatever side is available to you. It's really never glamorous. So just roll with it literally and then make your way up to your seat. So finding a comfortable seat that works for you. Lifting up your chest, sitting up tall, shoulders down, hands around the knees, and then flip the palms up. If you like to add a mudra here, you could go pointer finger, thumb finger together, creating a circle, pointing the rest of the fingers straight down. If you are new to this, but you're interested in it, it is very common for it to feel very weird for a long time because the muscles are not really used to moving in this way. So take an inhale, let your belly expand. Forceful exhale through your nose. Inhale, belly expands. Again, exhale. Hold air out. Inhale. Last exhale. Inhale, normal. Soft exhale. Palms together, center of your chest. Thank your mind and your body for what it's capable of today. And give yourself a compliment. This is not an easy class. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.